Okay, cameras rolling.
We've got present day, we've got how it all started, we've got Dubai Round 1, Radio Life, Evolution, Parenthood Wake Up Call, COVID Nightmare with Silver Lining, Kitchen Specifics, explaining why kitchens don't belong on the high street, explain an architectural approach to kitchen design. This is essentially you giving an explanation of each of those things. In terms of who you are, really importantly, you've got broadcasting experience, so I'm not a teacher, you don't really know, but it's really important to know what. Alright.
On time.
And if we're making individual clips, the clip should only be essentially 1 minute.
Yeah.
So if 1 minute, you've got to answer that in 1 minute.
I'll do a shout out after each saying which one it is.
I was saying to a friend of mine on Sunday, he was asking about radio. And I said, the thing is, when you work for commercial radio, essentially your job is to pay people, you're being paid to get people to listen through the adverts. And he's like, but everyone talks so fast and it's so quick. I was like, yeah, because it's your job. The skill is to learn how to say something in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And he's like, wow, that must have taken you. I was like, yeah, it was easy once I got to do it. And now I'm sitting here going, I haven't done that for about 10 years.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Cameras rolling.
So Selena, tell me about PAD.
PAD. Okay. So PAD is a design practice that specialises in bespoke kitchens, and we have a factory in the UK that makes them all. So we're not a typical retailer. We're not on the high street. We are trying to do something different based upon experience of working with typical kitchen retailers and all the problems that they cause by the time you get to site.
You just sit up a little bit. It's like just leaning to the chair too much.
Thanks. How long was that out of interest? Okay, fine. I haven't prepped answers for any of this. That's why I didn't give you questions, because I just thought it might be a bit more organic that way with my overthinking nature.
Okay, so tell me about yourself.
Me?
Who are you?
OCD, wife, mother, entrepreneur, sunset and sunrise lover. That would summarise me in a sentence.
And what makes you an entrepreneur?
Well, I have a business in the UK called PAD. I'm realising that I didn't say what makes me an entrepreneur, so I might need to go back to the start of that sentence. What makes me an entrepreneur? Well, I have a business in the UK called PAD. It's a design practice specialising in bespoke kitchens. And we have a factory where we make all of the kitchens in the UK. We're not a retailer. We're not on the high street. We, trying to make a difference one kitchen at a time. We're a small family business. And how does that make me an entrepreneur? It doesn't really, does it? Okay. What makes me an entrepreneur, Spencer? I don't even know.
Well, what is it? First of all, what is an entrepreneur?
Someone who has their own business, someone who's self-starting, somebody... That's a really good question, actually.
That's not an entrepreneur.
No. What is an entrepreneur then? How would you define it?
Someone who has their own business is self-employed.
Yeah. Okay. So how would you describe
an entrepreneur? If you left your business for 3 months, for the next 90 days,
yeah,
speak to anyone in the company for the next 90 days, would that business continue to thrive and flourish?
Now it would.
Okay. So now you're an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Because that's the definition of an entrepreneur versus a self-employed person. A self-employed person, it doesn't matter how big their business is, they can't walk away from it. They're not an entrepreneur. They're still a business owner or they're a self-employed person.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. Okay.
Makes sense?
Does.
Okay, good. Let's carry on. Interesting stuff.
You want to redo that one?
I'm going to redo all of those. I just want to try and see how she's flown. Okay, so Selena, describe yourself.
Oh, okay. Describe myself.
What's the ooh for?
Because it's like, you're completely throwing me off, okay?
This is definitely going in. Just taking edit.
Describe myself. I'm a lot. I am a lot. I'm quite OCD, but in positive terms, I have good attention to detail. I'm fiercely loyal. Very hardworking, probably a bit too hardworking. And I love the simple things in life. Yeah, that's me. Oh, sorry.
Okay. So how did it all start? Tell me about how you got into the world of business. What were you like as a youngster?
Fearless, something that I'm not now. I'm smiling because my good friend always just reminds me of this story. When you were 14 in the UK, in London, where I grew up, I'm sure it's the same everywhere else in the world, you couldn't have a part-time job. You had to be 15 to have a part-time job. But there was a loophole that if your headmaster or mistress and your careers advisor and your parents signed a special document issued by the council, you could work 4 hours a week. But it was just a headache, right? But that was the type of headache I was willing to endure so that I could go and have independence and get a job at 14. So I did that, and I worked just in a clothes shop, just as a Saturday girl. So that was my first entry into the world of business. And then I wanted to be a radio broadcaster. And that was not obviously an easy thing to do. There was no career path for that. So I used to listen to Choice FM every weekend. And every Saturday morning while I was getting ready for my Saturday job, I would call in and ask them if I could come and make the tea. And obviously they said no, and then they said no, and then they said no. And then eventually they said yes. So I would get a taxi in at just before 5 every morning. I would make the tea, answer the phones, finish at 9, and then get the tube back from Kennington, Borough High Street, to my Saturday job. And the wages from my Saturday job would cover the taxi in and the tube ride. And I did that until they let me speak. And then eventually I became like a member. It was called the Crazy Crew. Became a member of the Crazy Crew. And then I would get to speak for like a whole 60 seconds every Saturday. It was like the highlight of my week. And then I worked my way up to co-host of that show. And then we got moved to Saturday Drive Time. And then I got moved to another show because they were getting rid of that presenter, which was quite a nice touch to kind of know that they wanted to still keep me. And this was at the time that Choice FM was getting bought out by Capital Radio. So lots of people were, basically being got rid of. And then, I'm going off on a massive radio tangent. That's how I got started. That was probably more than 60 seconds.
Yeah,
Okay.
3 reels in that we can break it up into.
Okay.
So rolling.
It's tangent versus waffle with me. I'll go off on tangents.
It's bullet point.
People will think they're waffle if they don't understand you're a tangent.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that you keep it concise, because what we want is the consumer or the listener to this to be drawn to you.
Okay.
Want to learn more from you. Okay, so you get this opportunity to work on the radio, you present, you co-host. What's the dream?
The dream was Drive Time. The dream was a Drive Time radio show. And I was on a mission to get that Drive Time radio show, whatever it took. Except when I got it, I realised that it was just another radio show. It's like the epitome. I don't know, it's when you get older, you realise you're chasing, and then when you get what you want, when you get to the point where you think something's going to make you happy, and then you realise that actually it doesn't. So then I carried on chasing.
So you're on the radio for a few years. You didn't get the chance to come to Dubai. Why did you go to Dubai?
Because I was working nights and I was dying in London. And I got approached by Radio 1 here, that were essentially they were trying to rebuild Capital Radio Group. So they kind of picked people from different departments to come here. And I mean, coming to live in the sunshine seemed like it could be a bit of fun. Again, fearless, didn't care, like what have I got to lose? I'll come here for 6 months, maybe a year. It will be an adventure. I was going from being let me get this right, a small fish in a massive pond to a relatively big fish in quite a small pond, because I came here in 2007 where everything was still being built. It wasn't the city that it is today. So yeah, that was why I came to Dubai.
And how long did you work on the radio here for?
Just under 5 years I was here. So I started with the mid-morning show, and I used to do the chart show. And then I got the drive time show. I got everything I wanted, and that still wasn't enough. And I kind of got to the point where I had a couple of TV shows here. I was doing some voiceovers. I had this thing about DJing in cool venues, and I was DJing in what I deemed to be the two coolest venues in the Emirates. One was the Dubai Yacht Club, and the other one was Pearls and Caviar in Abu Dhabi at the Shangri-La. And I'm all about sunrises and sunsets, so I loved cool venues. So I didn't want to just be a DJ that DJ'd everywhere. So I was kind of DJing where I wanted to DJ. I had a couple of TV shows. I was doing some nice voiceovers. I was doing drive time radio. And then I was like, right, where's my career progression? I just got married. And I realised that there wasn't much more that Dubai could give me in terms of progression. And also, I'd become quite spoiled and not appreciated Dubai at all. And financially, you weren't rewarded for this career here, the world of broadcasting. So I wanted more. I wanted to go further in my career. I wanted to do more interesting television, which wasn't here yet. And I wanted to make more money, and I wasn't going to do any of those things here. Well, so I thought. So off we went back to London.
Okay, so you go back to London and you ended up in the kitchen industry, which is about as far removed from radio broadcasting as you could imagine. So how did being involved in kitchens start for you?
So when I first came back to London after leaving Dubai, I was still very much in the world of broadcasting. And I worked my arse off to get on Kiss FM, because when I was leaving here, it was kind of like, there's no way you're going to get onto national radio when you get back to the UK. And if someone says to you, there's no way you're going to do that, you've got to prove them wrong, right? That's just my character. I didn't realise it at the time. But I had also felt like I wanted more. I'd got this drive time show and I wanted more, and I didn't. I knew I needed to continue in radio. It was only when I got onto Kiss FM and I started turning down the music in between links that I realised it wasn't radio that I was bored of, or Dubai radio. It was youth radio, because the reality was, the reason I was turning down the music is because I'd perhaps grown out of, I didn't really care what Rihanna and Katy Perry were doing at the award ceremonies and stuff like that. Whereas, in my early 20s, I did really care about Rihanna and Katy Perry and Shakira, and it was massive when I would go to Emirates Palace and be broadcasting live from a Justin Timberlake concert. That was something when I was 23. By the time I was 27, I didn't really care about that sort of thing. So I'm sitting on Kiss and I'm like, okay, well, again, I've reached this thing that I'm chasing, and I'm kind of sitting here turning down the music. So my side hustle had always been property renovation. And when John and I got married, John's my husband, he'd been in estate agency, so he used to sell properties. And he then trained to be a mixologist and went and ran bars and, had a bit of fun doing that. I had always helped, my family were in the KBB industry, so kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, and used to renovate property. I was the kid that got picked up by the electrician from school. So, I'd be sitting there going, this is where the spotlight should go, when I was like 12. so I'd always been around it, and then I bought my first property when I was very young, and I'd helped various friends and families renovate property. So I kind of, some people would like,
You've got to stop that. You're telling me too much about renovating property,
okay,
and that sort of drags out a bit of the support.
okay,
So your side hustle was property.
yeah,
Great. Family were into that business.
okay,
Great. Husband was estate agent. It's almost like it was destiny almost. It was going to end up something like that.
yeah, okay. So just make that more concise.
Yeah,
Okay,
condense it down. We don't need to elongate that bit because people don't care about that.
okay,
Average game kitchen. Husband was estate agent, renovating property. His parents were in the game. Okay, I'm starting to see the picture here.
okay,
That's what the audience will think. I think.
okay, cool,
Make sense?
totally.
Okay, so
2 minutes 40 that last one.
okay, so
Should we do that one again or come back to it later?
no, we'll do it. Get them. So going from being a radio presenter
Yeah.
to being kitchens is like two vastly different industries. How did that happen?
My husband worked in the world of property. He used to be an estate agent. My family used to do kitchens, bedrooms, and bathrooms. And I grew up around renovating property. Bought my first flat when I was really young. I'd helped lots of friends and family. It was my side hustle.
Start off with your side hustle.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
That as a start.
It was my side hustle. Yeah. Okay.
Just be careful leaning forward, so just creep into the corner. I should be okay.
Can I go back?
Yeah, you can go back.
Okay.
Well, I'm not in the camera.
Sorry?
I'm not in the camera shot.
No.
What? Why not?
You wanted to be in the camera.
My shoulder at least.
No.
It's about her today. So I'll ask that question again.
Okay.
So you've gone from radio to a vastly different industry in the kitchen world, but there couldn't be two more separate industries. How did that happen?
So bizarrely, property was my side hustle. The whole time I was in radio, when you're in radio, you're only working 4 or 5 hours a day. And I had grown up around kitchens, bedrooms, and bathrooms and renovating property. My husband used to be an estate agent. We were both into property and had bought property very young and helped countless family members renovate their properties. So at the time, my agent said, well, if you're not into youth broadcasting anymore, what else are you into? Property was the obvious for me.
So then how did that then become a kitchen business?
Ha. Pad.
Ha. Aha.
Funny you should ask that.
So how did that end up becoming a kitchen business?
Well, that's a really good question. I often ask myself that as well. When we started Pad, it was supposed to be a small husband-wife boutique consultancy. Pad actually stands for Property Acquisition Development. So we would help private clients acquire property in the Southwest London area. We were essentially buying agents. And then we would develop, looking at it commercially, whether it would be for rental or resale. So you imagine small boutique, just the two of us, lifestyle kind of business. And then it very much organically evolved, let's just say. It organically evolved. I think that's the way to put it. That's almost like a separate answer.
And when you compare the company to what it was back then to what it is now, how different is it?
It's unrecognisable. It doesn't revolve around me, which is amazing. The reason that we went into kitchens was just common sense. So the first time I was asked to do a kitchen, so we'd done a kitchen for a client. We had this relationship with a factory and we were developing this property for this client in Balham in Southwest London. And we gave them the option of utilising this factory that we just happen to know. We're now in partnership with them. And they were so happy with their kitchen, they asked if we could do their sister's kitchen. And I may or may not have said that there's no K in Pad, because obviously property, acquisition, development, where is the K? Where are the kitchens? And this was my first year of business. So I'd spent like over a year coming up with a name for this business. And then I don't want to do kitchens. Like, this is not what it's supposed to be, you know, all these years in the making, the branding, this OCD, diligent person, and then someone's trying to ruin it all with kitchens. Like, that's honestly how I felt. And then obviously there's the commercial side of it. So I was like, okay. So swiftly, Kitchens by Pad kind of launches, the little side white label kitchens. And then this demand grows because we're working with these, when you're developing and renovating properties, there's architects, interior designers, contractors, design and build companies, engineers, like that team that you work with. So important, the collaboration. And I was project managing, and I would find that kitchen companies would come in at the end and just mess it all up. They weren't present. It was kind of like they were the divas that came in. And at that end part of the project, a contractor can lose their entire margin because things aren't running to time. I mean, you've been involved in property. So as we started to develop the kitchen side of it, it was all around the problems that we were facing on site. So PAD remained property acquisition development. There was the side Kitchens by PAD. And then it just evolved to the point where the demand, and we realised we were doing something quite special for the people involved.
Okay.
Just trying to, I'm aware that it probably ruffles the microphone every
No,
time.
can't hear anything, can't hear anything.
Okay.
There's a bit that drops down. and comes across
I know,
the
it's
line.
really bloody annoying me.
What makes a good kitchen?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's all about what makes a great kitchen is when you get the balance, the puzzle right. Start that again. What makes a great kitchen is when you get the priority puzzle right. And when I talk about the priority puzzle, anybody can create a pretty looking kitchen. That's like one part, and it's one small part. What's really important is to get the functionality, the aesthetic, and the budget right. Because whether you're, you know, low, mid, high end of the market, you are looking to, there is a budget, you know, construction costs have gone through the roof, and more is not always better. Bigger is not always better, and more expensive is not always better. It's about really understanding the lifestyle of the client. So the kitchen that's perfect for, you know, older couple that are living in, you know, a beautiful, spacious apartment in Chelsea, those needs and their lifestyle is going to be vastly different to a younger couple living in, you know, an extended terraced house in Clapham who've got 3 young kids under 5. Did I answer the question?
You did, yeah.
I'm trying to think about how that can be answered differently.
Okay, I'll come back to that. What were the biggest mistakes you made in the early stages of building PAD?
Working too hard. The biggest mistakes I made in the early days of PAD were creating a job for myself and not structuring a business and building a business. I did the typical work my arse off. Why are you taking a picture of me? Oh my God.
Carry on.
Not to mid flow. Let's.
Nobody,
Yeah.
okay, is inspired by somebody said the mistake I made was working too hard.
Okay.
Well, the people who listen to that go, you lazy bitch, or somewhere. So, and that it might be true that that's what happened, but your audience don't care about that.
Okay.
They love that you worked hard. They love that you sacrificed. They love that you know, you put sweat and tears into it. They love the fact that you had, you know, sleepless nights, because that's the struggle.
Burnout in hospital, yeah?
Yeah, but it's not like that. It's because the way, if you look at every good movie has got 2 summits in it.
Yes, you mentioned that actually.
So it's really important to understand that, you know, for people to admire what you've done with Pad and want to become a client of Pad or want to know you better, they want to know that you struggled because they struggled.
Okay.
And they don't want to know that you said the worst thing about work too hard. That's like one of those work-life balance fucking yummy mummy things. And people don't respect them.
Okay.
They don't respect them because there's the people out there that work their nuts off, fuck all. And,
True.
And they go and do that and they want to align themselves. It's like, you have kids called Rupert and Tiffany, and whatever it does.
Rupert and Melody.
Melody, that's it. But it's like, people don't care about those kind of people. It's like you're entitled to what you actually work too hard. Oh, big deal. So that can be part of what happens later on.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But it can't be.
So could the biggest mistake though be that I created a job for myself rather than structured a business that meant I would no. Okay. Fine.
That wasn't a mistake either.
Okay.
That was one of the problems that nearly every entrepreneur does.
Okay.
That's standard.
Okay.
I was supposed to be an entrepreneur. Now I'm self-employed. What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah. Okay.
So I planned that. So I know again that's the mistake everyone's made. It's if you want to appeal to the network marketing, forever living, selling women who get told work 2 hours a day and you can earn a fortune and have a great life and you can have a balance with your family and shit, okay, get conned into that nonsense when the only ones that make money at network marketing companies are the ones that do 18-hour days, and sacrifice everything for it. And so at the beginning, when you think about the challenges of Pad, okay, what was really tough about it was I didn't know fuck all about business. That could be what it is. I was not a business person. And what I ended up doing was put a load of hours into stuff that, if I had my time again, I could have probably delegated better, or I could have learned to give myself time to look down on the company from a helicopter point of view and analyse how the business was going to grow rather than being in it and putting all those hours in, rather than I worked while I made myself sick. Because there's just a million people out there that have worked hard and made themselves sick, and they're being told by the world that sometimes that's what it takes if you're not that smart, but you'll get there.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so just want to have that, and then your working mum is it's just a little even better. It's kind of like I've done that. I've got a family. Now the women that have got 6 kids out there that'll be going, fuck you, Selena. Okay. But there's not many women with 6 kids, and so you don't have to worry about it. But that balance of focusing on my career, bringing up a family, being amongst 2 boys.
1 boy.
2 boys. My husband and my son, my 2 boys. But you kind of like having that aspect of it. I want people to want to aspire to be like you. I want people to go, she can do it, I can do it. I want people to go, that's the kind of person I want to design my kitchen. They're the kind of people I want to work with, They're the kind of people I want to be around.
Yeah.
That's what we need to portray, I think, a little bit.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And then the struggle that's in there, great, let's have the struggle. But the struggle's got to be authentic to the audience opposed to authentic to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so what were the biggest challenges you had with Pad in the beginning?
I think focusing on working the biggest challenges that I had.
I didn't realise how hard it was going to be. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had this rose-tinted glasses about being an entrepreneur was going to be this cool and sexy thing. No one told me it was going to, it was going to make me sick, No one told me it was going to be that hard. And everyone's going to go, yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so tell me about the challenges you faced at Pad in the early stages.
I think in the early stages of Pad, I didn't know anything about business. I was a skilled designer and I have a great attention to detail and I knew what I was doing, but I had no idea about running a business. I also had no idea how difficult it was going to be. No one tells you that. they paint this picture of, freedom, work for yourself and you will have a better life. Work for yourself and you will have more time. I was working 18 hours a day. I was working 6 to 7 days a week. I have this vision looking back, sitting on my dining table in my house. And when John would come home from work, he would just go to say hello to me. And I'd be like, "You're home!" And he'd look at me and he's like, "I'm just coming to say hi. It's fine. I'll put my headphones on and play PlayStation." And I would just, I would be fuming at him for coming home at 7:00 in the evening. And then I burnt out inevitably and got really sick a couple of times. Okay.
That bit about John, we don't need that bit about John.
Okay.
You're bringing too much into it.
Okay, fine.
I want people to know how hard it was.
Yeah.
The bit you said at the beginning was exactly what you should say. No one told me. No, why didn't anyone tell me?
Yeah, okay.
Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen never told me. You could have some fun with it. What are the TV shows, Changing Rooms, whatever it is? They make it look easy. It's that people make business look easy. No one told me, and that was painful. And I had some very serious lessons I had to learn on the way as well. I made some mistakes. Okay, I made some mistakes, and my own character means that I, unfortunately put extra stress on myself, which made things difficult for a while.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so what were the challenges in the early stages of building Pad?
The early stages of Pad were hard, and they were hard because nobody told me how hard it was going to be. They make being an entrepreneur seem like a really positive road to take. You have more freedom, you have more time. You have neither of those things. That's the reality of it. The other thing is I was a very skilled designer. I was very good at what I did, but I had no clue about business. I can look back now and go, what was I thinking? And because I'm OCD, I spent a lot longer on learning these lessons the hard way. I probably paid a lot of twat tax too.
Again, no one's going to know what a twat is. Are they going to have different interpretations of what a twat might be, as per the dictionary?
Okay.
I had to pay a lot of cunt tax too.
Yeah, but I didn't say that, did I?
It's good ad.
Okay, fine.
My mum would be, that's outrageous. Okay, so up until that point, great. So what did you have to overcome to turn it into a successful business?
I had to learn to let go to turn Pad into a successful business.
Let go? What do you mean by that?
Not do everything myself.
I think the word's delegate.
Okay.
Yeah. Let go is like losing a relationship.
Yeah.
So who's the most famous billionaire delegator there is?
I have no idea.
Richard Branson.
Okay.
So Richard Branson learned very early on with his dyslexia that he wasn't very good at many things. And so he just spent his time finding good people and delegating everything to them.
Yeah.
Okay, now because he learned that at an early age, he was able to go and build. You went through some struggle, and then you learned that there's only 24 hours in my life every day. I can't multiply that.
Yeah.
So I learned that delegation was going to be the secret, or delegation was the secret to creating a successful business.
Yeah, I think it's delegation. I think it's people. I think it's processes. I think it's not trying to control everything.
That's what we want. We want to use terms
Can I still say those things about people, processes, not trying to control? I think when I said let go, that's more what I was referring to. About it was my.
Then you made a statement and you ended it with a sentence, and so at the end of that sentence, I went, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
You said I had to learn to delegate. Delegate, which means.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine. And then I can.
It's a word. It's a business word.
So if it's a statement, use a term that people can understand, and then.
Had to let go to what your husband. Is that you made it a success? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, what did you let go of?
Yeah, okay. So I had to learn to delegate, and then I can go into the whole getting rid of the need for control, people, processes. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So tell me about how you turned Pad into a successful business.
I think the key to turning Pad into a successful business was learning to delegate, and that was a tough road for me. I now can admit that I used to be very controlling, and I'm going to put it in the past tense. And letting go of that need to control every tiny thing has been a huge part of getting Pad to where it is today. I wish I'd known when I started out it was all about people and processes. It's not about me at all. In fact, the whole way that we operate as a business is from the bottom up. It couldn't be further from being about me. And I think that's made it what it is today.
So what were the key learnings from that experience? You talk about people and processes. What were the key learnings from that experience?
When I think about learnings from people and processes,
No.
That
was a result of it.
Okay.
Think about the audience.
Yeah.
Okay? So what were the benefits here? What did you learn? I learned about people. I learned about processes. I want to explain what you did and what you implemented to make the business successful. What did you learn about it?
I learned that there's only so many hours in every day. And no matter how hard I tried, I had to use my time effectively, which is where the delegation came into it. So putting the right team together and then having the processes for them to follow meant that I didn't need to do everything myself. So, for example, when I talk about people and processes, we have a process that started, it's an internal process for designing and putting a kitchen into production. It was 127 points long when we first designed it. It's now over 300 points because every quarter we go through what went right, what went wrong, and we learn from our mistakes and we evolve. And the team refer to it as digital Selena. So it's kind of like I'm in their head even when I'm not there. And that is just, for me, the epitome of a process.
Okay. If you had your time again and you went back to build Pad from the start, what would you do differently?
Ooh. If I was starting Pad today, I would structure it with a team from the beginning. I would make sure that the core processes were in place, and I would have a clearer vision and mission right from the get-go rather than developing it as I went.
So basically, you'd know what you want your outcome to be at the beginning and you'd work back from your outcome.
Yeah, because what we started out as a husband-wife boutique consultant.
So I would know what I want my outcome to be.
Yeah.
I'd work back from my outcome so I know what stages I need to follow to get there.
Yeah. Okay.
Say something like that.
Okay. Sorry, can you repeat the question? Then I'll bring it into the answer. Okay.
It's when you were talking, I want to know if you had your time again.
Yeah.
I'd start with the end. Rather than organically build it, I'd start with the goal in mind and then work back from the goal so I knew what I needed to do to achieve it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
So you had your time again, what would you do?
If I had my time again, or I was starting Pad today, I would start with the end in mind.
I wouldn't have done it.
Shut up. Probably wouldn't have. If I had my time again, or I was starting Pad today, I would start with the end goal in mind and work back rather than organically building this passion purpose business. and learning lots of hard lessons along the way.
And what mistakes do you think that other entrepreneurs make when it comes to building a business from the beginning? Do they make the mistakes that you make or different ones?
I think there are a lot of similarities that all entrepreneurs make when they start out in business. I think
There's a lot of similarities all entrepreneurs have, not make.
there's a lot of similarity. I think there's a lot of similarities that entrepreneurs have when they start out in business. I think there's often, let me start that again. I was about to go off on a tangent and I stopped myself. I think there's a lot of similarities that entrepreneurs have when they start out in business. I think a lot of entrepreneurs start out with this skill and don't necessarily have the skill in building and running a business. So they focus on the skill that they have and turning that into working for themselves. But it's under the umbrella of, hey, I'm starting a business. And then they just have this job that works them even harder than their job worked them before. And they have freedom, but they don't have freedom because they have to be an accountant and be a marketeer and be a PA and be all the things they didn't have to be in their original job.
Okay, talk to me about kitchen design.
Okay.
I've had some kitchens done over the years. Didn't know much about it, to be honest with you. Went to a company here when I renovated a house called Bald with Gagano appliances.
Yeah.
All I knew is that there was a guy called Daniel who was really friendly, but they were really expensive. And I liked soft closing drawers.
You would be like an ideal client. That's your remit. Yeah. Soft close drawers. And don't be as expensive as
I like drawers, not
doors. Okay.
And don't be as expensive as that. So people say that the kitchen is the heart of the house.
Yes.
How do you design a kitchen to work really effectively for you?
It's all about designing a kitchen is all about getting to know the client. So when you think about kitchen design, most people think about how pretty it is. So Instagram pictures, Pinterest images. It's important, don't get me wrong. It really is important that it looks good when it's done. But that is about this much of the picture. Because getting to know the client who lives in the house, how it's used, what day-to-day life looks like, is way more important. Because everyone's got their thing, their kitchen thing. So, for example, let me think of an example before I go off on a tangent.
So, for example,
the weight guy.
Yeah,
the dumbbell. I was about to tell that story and then I thought you might laugh at me. No. Shall I pretend he's someone I know or just... Okay.
He says it frequently on his content anyway.
Okay, so for example, think about your morning routine. Say you get up in the morning, you go downstairs, you make your coffee, and your coffee's going to take 3 minutes. I can't help but laugh because you told me this story like less than a week ago, and it's like I'm telling the story back to you now, and I don't know if I'm going to.
Say we had a client.
Okay, right. Okay.
We had a client.
Okay.
And use that example. That's fine. I don't give a fuck.
Okay, no, I know, but you know me. If you didn't have a client, that's a lie. Okay, so for example, think about your morning routine. So you go down in the morning, you're making a coffee. How long does your coffee take? Maybe you use that time to do something else. Maybe you use it to do some exercise. You might use it to do your weights. So we need to...
No, don't do it that way. Okay. We had a client. Let me give you an example. We had a client. I can connect with a real life example.
Okay.
Let me give you an example of how important it is. So we had a client that used to annoy his wife because his kettlebells were in the kitchen.
Okay.
And they had their kitchen redesigned. And every morning at 5:30, he went down and he had his coffee. That was his first thing of the day. But while his coffee was brewing, which took 3 minutes, he liked his kettlebell workout. But the wife kept tripping over the kettlebell, was in the corner by the plant. And so we designed the kitchen to include a place for the kettlebell and the mat or whatever it is you want to say, okay, to be housed within the kitchen, so that it was out of the way, but also practical to be used, and it didn't drive the lady of the house mad.
Yeah. You're very good at telling stories. Should we swap? Should we swap? Okay. All right. So let me give you an example. I feel like the intro bit is still there and recorded, so I don't need to repeat that. Okay, so let me give you a real life example. We once had a client who used to like to do his kettlebell workout in the morning. And he used to like to do it while he was having his coffee. But his physical kettlebells used to drive his wife up the nuts.
Up the nuts. Like a twat with a cunt. Fucking hell. Up the nuts.
Okay, right. Let me give you a real life example. So we once had a client who used to like to do his workout in the morning. He used to like to do his kettlebell. Can I have some water, please?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Cheers. I often think about Granny's serving dish as well. That was another real life example. That's not on camera, is it?
No.
Okay. I did just spill water here, so I'm just going to go like that. And dry my hands. All good if I moved it? Sorry. Okay.
Ta-da!
Tell me how much out of 10 you enjoyed doing this.
5.
5, okay.
That's higher than I thought.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be a 5.
Comfort zone.
I have a whole morning of this next week.
Do you?
You just got to do this. We make 20, 30 videos.
So you're in this spot making the videos? Yeah. And who prompts you?
So we have the team people, so Sam and Sabine who work in that team, and yeah, they come with the ideas, and Sabine's a bit of a German pop winer, and she's like sitting here, and I'll talk to her just exactly the same way you're talking to me, and then that content's produced. Do you want to see what it looks like?
I think you should. Is it?
Yeah, you'll see. Yeah. The time that I'm talking to someone, the camera's on you, but you're talking to somebody, so you're not talking to the camera.
Yeah. That's why I thought it would be really relaxed and enjoyable.
And it's intimidating with me. Is it me?
No.
Would you rather Alex ask the question?
No, not at all. It's just like,
Sit up, you're a broadcaster.
oh my God. It's the little things that you forget. I mean, I haven't broadcasted for...
Ever.
I mean, I left KISS in 2014. I was probably Spotify to 2016, 17.
So you were doing it up until 16?
2016.
This is 6 years ago.
16, 17. Spotify. Yeah.
6 years ago.
6, 7 years ago, I
I
stopped
thought
it.
it was like 20 years ago. Nothing.
I'm not that old. I was on the radio for 14 years.
You're not that old.
I'm not that old.
How old are you?
Not that old.
Let me see you.
38.
You're not that old, you're a kid.
No, but I am going to be 39 in a couple of months. And then it's
I'm
like,
53 next week, so.
are you?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so we're back to kitchen design then. Okay, so talk to me about kitchen design. What makes a good kitchen? Daniel at Balltop. I've given you an
Kitchen design is the dumbbell example.
Yeah, no.
The old plate example, because you used the word no when you should have done.
Yeah, okay. So let me
give you an example.
Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. It's all about understanding the client's lifestyle and daily routine. So, for example, we once had a client who used to like to do their kettlebell workout in the morning while their coffee was brewing. Coffee took 3 minutes, kettlebell workout took 3 minutes, kettlebells lived next to the coffee machine. Do you have any idea how much that drove the lady of the house mad? So when we designed the kitchen, we made sure that there was bespoke storage right by the coffee machine for the kettlebells. We also made sure that there was a lovely drawer that housed all the Nespresso pods perfectly. Now that transforms somebody's lives, because imagine having 2 giant kettlebells on your work surface next to the plant, and a coffee machine, and a pot with the Nespresso pods, and something for the recycling. All of that turned into efficient storage right below. Suddenly you've got a clear work surface.
Makes sense. So let's talk about sustainability.
Yes.
It's kind of trendy to be sustainable, unless you're going to the World Economic Forum, which you have to go on your private jet and be unsustainable. How have kitchens become more sustainable over the last 20 years?
I've got 3 different ways to answer this question. I'm just thinking of the best way.
Don't think you the first one.
Kitchens are inherently unsustainable. The biggest transformation in sustainability in kitchen design over the last decade has been more and more people recycling their kitchens. So to give you an example, if you were to, rather than throw a kitchen into landfill essentially, you were to recycle it and it was to be sold secondhand and find a new home. I think the figures are something like carbon neutral for a family of 4 for an entire year. So that has been a really positive step in the right direction, in the UK at least. Kitchen appliances have definitely become more efficient.
Sustainable kitchens. Let's talk about sustainability for a minute.
Okay.
So with sustainable kitchens, the truth is kitchens actually aren't that sustainable. However, what we encourage all of our clients to do is to think about how their kitchen can be reused and repurposed. So getting those kitchens recycled, getting them taken out of the current property, put into the property as a second-hand kitchen of other people, so that those carcasses can be used again, the sinks, the taps can be used again, and not thrown into landfill and create a waste. So that's something we really encourage with all of the people that we work with.
Yeah, okay, I get you.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So I think before I go off,
you're pushing. Okay, you said that I'm sustainable, but you've then not made a big deal about repurposing, recycling, or remanufacturing, as you want to call it. And so make a big deal. We encourage our clients. In fact, we have a program that we launched where we help clients get their kitchen out and put it into other people's properties so they can be used again.
So the 3 things are the recycling, the repurposing, and there's the recycling, the repurposing, then from a design point of view, using natural light and natural materials where possible, and then the specification of appliances.
Think about the glass.
But no, I'm telling you the 4 things in.
Fine.
So it's just try and like.
These are the 4 aspects of sustainability we care about.
Yeah.
Okay, bish bash bosh. How do we solve that?
Yeah.
Bish bash bosh, one at a time. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it does. Okay, so can you just ask the question again, and then I can try and go on to a bit of a flow and cover those 4 points.
Really?
Yeah.
Sustainability in kitchens seems to me like it's become more trendy, more of a buzzword over the last 20 years. So how has sustainability changed within kitchen design and manufacture over the last 2 decades?
The trouble with kitchens is that they aren't very sustainable. The best way to be sustainable, and what we encourage all of our clients to do, is to recycle their kitchens when they're embarking on a kitchen renovation. So do not let it go into landfill. There are a number of different secondhand kitchen companies that will find a good new home for it to go to. When you're designing a new kitchen, the way you design your kitchen architecturally with natural light and the type of lighting you use and the materials you use can also have a big impact, as does the kitchen appliance spec. So for example, looking at going for an induction hob over a gas hob, having a cooker tap that does instant boiling water and filtered water. These are all ways you can be more sustainable. I found with kitchen design and putting in a new kitchen, it's about the cumulative, I can't even get the words there. Cumulative. It's an accumulation of the small stuff that makes the difference. Yeah. I found with kitchen design and sustainability, it's the accumulation of the small stuff that has the impact. I found with sustainability in kitchen design, it's an accumulation of the small stuff that actually has the impact.
So, overwhelmed or underwhelmed, you think I would be hearing that?
Now you said that, probably underwhelmed.
Yeah, so I need to be overwhelmed.
Okay.
So I need to be super impressed. I need to know sustainability, maybe my wife, it really matters to her. What's the sell to my wife? What's the sustainability sell to my wife? Why should I go with Pad? I'm not one of their competitors in terms of my kitchen design. What's good about it? I'm an architectural firm and I've been given a remit to build a sustainable project somewhere. Why am I going with Pad? And it's like you have to, with the content, you have to make me go. They're a no-brainer. And for the people that care about sustainability, for example, then what are you doing? You said you recommend our clients. It's just like, make it bolder.
Okay.
Make it bolder in a way that makes me go, oh, you really care about that shit. So not only do you get my kitchen taken out because you're putting a new kitchen in, what you're actually going to do as well is you're going to find a new home for it.
Yeah, but we don't.
Doesn't matter. You put them in touch with people that do, yeah?
Yeah.
That's good enough. And you can't always sit down, and worry about the truth getting in the way of a good story.
Okay.
All right? We sometimes need a little bit of embellishing. Okay? It's not an outright lie. If you put them in touch with a company that does it, then you do it.
Okay.
I want to feel that you care. And you need to get that across in the content.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. And I'm just trying to think of...
So if I answer the question, over at Pad, sustainability matters to us a lot. Now the truth is, kitchens actually aren't that sustainable. There's a lot of stuff typically that would go in a landfill when a new kitchen is installed. It's not something we're really comfortable with. So what we focus on is trying to find ways to repurpose that kitchen that comes out and find a new home for it. I.e., people who now got a second-hand kitchen they can place into a home of someone that might need that more than they do, rather than going to landfill. And we work very closely with a couple of contractors that do exactly that. So when anybody gets a kitchen from us, we're pushing them down that path because sustainability matters to us and we want it to be at the forefront of everyone's minds.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I care about you now. I care about you now. I care about you because you care.
So that's actually focusing on 1 point rather than 3 points as well.
But then you can do that with each point, you can then go into it.
Sorry.
So,
Okay. Okay. I think I got it.
You have got it. Okay, so let's talk about sustainability. Okay, buzzword, it's happened a lot. Don't even know what it means in the kitchen world. So what does sustainability mean and what are you doing to play your part in that movement?
Kitchens are actually very unsustainable. I spent best part of 3 years trying to create a fully sustainable kitchen and actually failed miserably. But on that journey, so I'm going off on a bloody tangent. Yeah. Because you asked me, what am I doing?
I want a direct answer to the question.
Yeah. No.
If you get this out in a minute and a half, it's a real nice snapshot. It's Selena Cairns.
Yeah.
Yeah? So talk to me about sustainability. Kitchens are, how does sustainability work in the world of kitchens? What's the good, the bad, and the ugly with sustainability? Tell me.
Kitchens are inherently unsustainable.
Why are they unsustainable?
I need to just get my flow on this.
Mm-hmm. Take your minute, stand up, shake yourself down.
Yeah. Okay.
Quick sound check.
1, 2, 3. 3. Sustainability in kitchen design. See, for me, when I think about sustainability, going back to this, when I think about sustainability, I don't want to just literally repeat what you've said. I can repeat what you've said. I'll just get my head together and repeat it. But for it to be more organic, when I think about sustainability in
It's like, don't know. Just get it out, get the content out.
okay,
Don't know.
fine.
Okay, what are the sustainable considerations we've got to have when designing a kitchen?
God, can we just come back to this in a minute? Because I feel like this is just going to stop us.
Sure.
There's like no flow. I feel like you say that word at the moment. It's
How
big.
how did COVID affect your business?
Oh, it nearly destroyed it. COVID nearly.
Tell me what happened with COVID to your business.
Are we going to do everything again, just so I know in terms of editing? Are we going to go through everything again once more? No. Okay.
No.
We could do.
I'm not even going through it in a structure. I'm just
Okay.
dancing around the stuff that I think is relevant.
So tell you about. Sorry, I just got distracted.
Okay, how did COVID impact your business?
COVID nearly destroyed us. It was at the exact point that we were making the transition from doing full renovations to kitchens. And 2020 was mainly renovations with a handful of kitchens. And a lot of our developer clients just fell off basically with COVID. And that put us in a very, very weak, susceptible spot. On the plus side, it was also a time where after the first lockdown, people realised that they wanted more from their homes. So it was a great opportunity for us as well. So there was a silver lining, but it was definitely, like for most, a shocking, difficult time in March 2020 when you go from having like a year's worth of, an order book that takes you through the year to having nothing within the space of about 3 days. So I'm going to stop there because that's feels like it's the end of the question.
Tell me when you're designing a kitchen, where's the best place to invest? What do you do with designing a kitchen to get the most out of it?
I think again it depends on the client where you invest when you design a kitchen, and it's all about looking at what their plans are for the property. Like the commercial aspect to designing a kitchen is huge. If a client says they're only going to live in a property for 3 years, then where they should invest is not where they should invest if it's for a forever home where they're going to live for the rest of their lives. If they're going to rent it out in 3 years, that's going to put a different brand of appliances to if they're going to live in it for the next 10 to 15 years. I think cabinetry is always a solid place to invest. So making sure you have soft closed drawers and doors is an essential. Making sure that you are, whether you're living in it or you're renting out, you don't want your appliances to break down. But you don't necessarily need to have Miele or Gaggenau appliances. Something like Bosch will more than suffice if you're renting it out. Worktops are a big area because your worktop cost can be the cheapest thing that goes into your kitchen, or it can be the most expensive thing if you start to go for like a Decton or a Neolith, which is heat-proof, stain-proof. So again, it really depends. It depends on the client. Yeah.
How did becoming a mum impact your business?
Oh. Becoming a parent.
At the beginning of every clip, we need her to go, ooh. Every one of them, just edit them all with exactly that. Ooh. It's like, I know the answer to that. Me, miss.
How did becoming a parent affect my business? Honestly, becoming a parent just made me question everything. I just started asking why. Maybe I became more spiritual. I started questioning who I was, why I was doing what I was doing. But then I was also like, hang on a minute. I don't want to choose. Why should I have to choose between having a career and being a great mum? And I think that has actually built the foundation for the people mission of the business and how we are set up as a business and how all of our team operate with the flexibility and autonomy that they have. And it takes a certain type of person now to join PAD because of that.
Do you find it easy to create a work-life balance?
Work-life balance is a term that I think is overused. I think work-life harmony is where I'm at right now. I have a really good work-life harmony, and that has a lot to do with coming to Dubai. In London, it was an absolute disaster. I was a mess. There's no denying it. But now, being here, there is a very nice work-life harmony that I have managed to create after years of hard graft. And I mean, there was a time where in that COVID era of trying to rebuild the business, we got stuck here. And I mean, I was back to working 18 hours a day. Jai wasn't sleeping. And the only time I spent with him, I was gone in the morning. No? Okay.
Too much information.
Okay.
What's the difference between work-life balance and work-life? Would you call it
Harmony.
Okay, what's the difference between work-life balance and work-life?
Oh, you're annoying. Why are you asking me that question? Can't you just take it as it sounds nice? How would I describe this? I know what I mean, but I'm just going to have to try and articulate it. So just hold on there a second. So I think when I think about work-life balance, I think about scales. And, it's constantly like, have I got the balance right? Is it right? Is it wrong? You're kind of questioning, like, have I got this? Have I not got it? Whereas when I think, the reason I use the term work-life harmony is because there are weeks where work is more intense. And admittedly, on my to-do list every day, I do have something called Jai time that comes up. So I remind myself to either take him to school, pick him up from school, see him after school, or put him to bed. So there is something in there. And then there are weeks where there is more life time. And I think it's just understanding that you've got to be open and go with the flow. And as long as, there's the bare minimum in the intense times on both sides, that's what I mean by work-life harmony. I just feel like the balance is a bit strict.
Got it. Should women have to choose between family and a career?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because I think you can have both.
Can't answer with absolutely not.
Why not?
Answer the question. Should women have to choose between? I mean, women should be at home, shouldn't they? Looking after kids.
Oh, fuck off. Oh, look at him. He's going to basically roll me up now. Now he's going to get the best content he's had all morning. Should women have to choose between having a family and a career? Absolutely not. There is no question there. Why should a woman have to choose between having a family and a career?
Because you won't be a good mother if you've got a career.
That's bullshit. Oh my God! You're annoying.
You should be in the kitchen, not making it. But that aspect of anger and demonstrate some passion about that. So talk from a place of passion. Okay. Talk from a place of passion about that question. Okay. I'll come back. I'll ask it again.
Okay.
But talk from a place of care, not from a fuck you motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you take away the energy.
Okay.
It's just you're doing it passionately. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so men think that women should choose between a job and being. So should women have to choose between having a family or having a career?
I just want to say absolutely not. I need to start with the question.
Start.
Okay.
Start with absolutely not.
Absolutely not. There is no reason why women should have to choose between having a family and having a career. Yes, it's harder to juggle. But women are brilliant at doing that anyway. I think it's about being in the right role. And I think it's about having, I mean, now I'm just going into, I'm not talking passionately at all. I'm trying to think about.
Get to the point.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Should they choose? Why on earth should they have to choose? What is it? There's one thing men can't do is multitask. There's one thing women can do is multitask. And we multitask between a career and being a parent.
Yeah.
Who's the successful female entrepreneur that has kids?
Loads. There's loads of female entrepreneurs that have children.
Who's the most hardest working female that's had kids over the years that we've just celebrated the coronation of her son?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah. Just trying to think of like concise point. Because for me, it 100%, you shouldn't have to choose between having a family. I don't understand why women have to choose between.
They don't. They don't have to choose. So you can respond with, I'm insulted by the question.
Yeah, fine.
Women can have whatever they want. If they want to go to work and they want to have kids, it's up to them. No one should tell them they can or they can't. Now, can all women do it? No, because some women aren't able to. They may have too many kids and no help. They may have too big a job. Who knows? But is it possible? And should women be supported doing that by their husbands? Absolutely.
That's it, isn't it?
That's the end of the sentence. It's the mic drop then. It's not then, let me give you another example of that. Let's just drop the mic at that point.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
So, people from Southwest London, women from Southwest London with Asian heritage, do you think, so, should women have to decide between a career and having children?
Absolutely not. There is no reason why a woman has to choose between having an amazing career and being a fantastic mother and having a family. It's all about the support network and the role that they work in and the flexibility that they have in their job.
Okay. That last bit was waffle. You need to be punchier.
Okay.
Okay, you start off being really punchy. Okay. It's not about the support, it's about that. It's like they can choose whatever they want. So it's like you need to be almost disgusted by the question, or offended by the question, or irked by the question. Yeah, and then just get that last bit out. So no, absolutely not. If women want to work and they want to have kids, it's entirely up to them to do so. Women can multitask, remember. Men can't. It's just sarcasm. But in reality, nobody should have to choose. Having a great career and having a family, there's millions of examples of people who do exactly that every day. The fact that someone would even ask that question, to be honest with you, offends me.
Yeah, see, that's just a good close there. Just answer the question. And
then... Okay, so one more time.
Okay.
Should women have to choose between having a family or having a great career?
Absolutely not. There is no reason that any woman should have to choose between having a great career and having a family. God, I've completely lost it. Sorry. See, this is it. This is like almost just repeating what you say for me. It's like I'm trying to remember it rather than
say it yourself organically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's where I go, where I'm not great.
I get it. Come on, stand up.
Okay.